This video is made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.
Whether it's a rhythm game or a platformer, flow is a nebulous and important video game gameplay concept. Super Mario Bros. Features flow, as Mario is running and jumping linked together as you avoid obstacles. Shoot-'em-ups have flow as you nimbly dodge bullets and defeat enemies. Character action games like Bayonetta essentially require flow as you move from enemy to enemy, chaining together combos. Vertex Pop's second Switch game, Super Crush KO, flows from the inspiration of those styles of games, creating a pulse-pounding and optimistic side-scrolling character action game that is both dazzling and delightful. Bright colors make this game stand out from the get-go, as you play as Karen, who chases a robot lady named Anne after Anne steals her cat and sends a bunch of robots after her. It's a little bit of a nonsense story, but interstitial scenes give it enough playful depth and a touch of heart. The narrative does a good job of setting up the experience overall, as you're dropped in as a woman wearing what resembles to be a windbreaker and jean shorts, who uses her fists and feet to pound the crap out of robots. Each stage is a series of linked combat arenas with a few platforming and puzzle segments, thrown in for good measure. Structurally, it is highly reminiscent of how a PlatinumGames style game works, as the stages all have deliberate areas where you are fighting for a ranked medal, but then factors into an overall score for that level. The combat ultimately doesn't have the complexity and variety of a 3D action game, but it is impressive how much Super Crush KO evokes its clear inspirations. Karen's basic options are melee combos and a ranged gun, while a power-up meter controls and limits a variety of other special moves, such as an uppercut that chuckles enemies, or powerful ground pound. Dodging is mapped to a button press, which is integral, especially as enemies unleash attacks that can't be interrupted by a punch. Everything is laid out over the first few stages in a rather effective tutorial. The goal is surviving your way to the end of the level, but a high score element is ever present. Throughout every moment of the stage, your actions add to an overall score, and you have a running combo meter that builds up from D all the way up to S as you chain together attacks. The meter is reset if you take too long between hits and take damage. My main frustration with this is that occasionally my combo meter would run out between scenes, just by virtue of the time it takes for new enemies to spawn. Otherwise, it's a blast to plan out your attacks in a way that keeps you always hitting and increasing your combo, especially since you're rewarded for using a variety of moves. The online leaderboards build off of the framework of Vertex Pop's debut Switch game, 2017's Graceful Explosion Machine. Right out of the gate, Super Crush KO allows you to effortlessly press a button to submit your score to the online leaderboards. If you're not in Wi-Fi range, you can also submit your scores in bulk when you return to the internet. Overall, Super Crush KO feels like an evolution of Graceful Explosion Machine. While their previous games was more pure shoot-'em-up, the attacks and combo meter are very similar. Ultimately, I prefer character action games to shoot-'em-ups to begin with, but even still, I found Super Crush KO to be a tad more forgiving. Importantly, it also improves the flow between moments, and less time is spent waiting for enemies to spawn in levels. The bright and bubbly romp doesn't last all that long. There are about 16 stages and 4 boss battles, but that also ensures that Super Crush KO doesn't outstay its welcome, while encouraging some potentially tense high-score battles. This is a rad game to start off 2020 with, and I hope the endearing optimism found in Vertex Pop's second Switch game is a harbinger of the year to come. If you want to check out more stuff about video games and like the Nintendo Switch and like indie games on Switch, be sure to like and subscribe here at Nintendo World Report TV. We're going to be covering all sorts of Switch games over the course of 2020, and we have a heck of a backlog if you want to go look at some other games that we covered, like maybe the predecessor to Super Crush KO that I mentioned a couple times in the review, Graceful Explosion Machine, which has a review that is, almost 3 years old. Anyway, they made a new game. It's great. Check it out. Thanks for watching. Bye.
This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Did you know that Nintendo World Report is funded directly by fans like you? When you support Nintendo World Report on Patreon, you get immediate access to multiple exclusive podcasts every month, exclusive Discord channels, an early look at select content, and more, all for as little as $1 a month. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.